Hey everybody, woohoo! How are you doing? I am so excited tonight. I can't even tell you why I'm so excited, but I'm just so excited. I guess I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be in good health. I'm happy for life and life more abundantly. Y'all, it's just been a really great day today. We had 2 teacher work days this week, and then 2 days we worked. They've already told us not to come in tomorrow because we're experiencing some winter weather. So I'm just happy, I'm excited, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I feel blessed, my family as well. So I'm just so happy tonight. I'm so thankful to God. I'm so excited. It's been a great day, and I celebrate and just again honor the Lord for his goodness towards me. If I ain't got another word to say, I can say thank you, Jesus, for all that you have done for me, for who you are to me, for blessing my family, for being an ever-present help. Just God is my everything, and I just thank him and appreciate him and bless him. Woohoo! So this is Sip and Say with Stephanie. Welcome to Sip and Say with Stephanie. So y'all know this is my night just to say what I want to say, to just share my heart, share my thoughts. Sometimes for those of you who are new to Sip and Say with Stephanie, Happy New Year and welcome to your first evening or afternoon or morning or rebroadcast with Sip and Say with Stephanie. We are so glad that you are here. And so I usually just share what's on my heart. Sometimes I'll share some news, some current events, news, social events, social issues, just whatever is going on. I will share how I'm feeling about it. Well, I'll report that news and then I'll share how I'm feeling about it. So tonight I'm gonna keep it a little light, y'all. Now next week I've already determined that I'm going to talk about the Build Back Better Act, which is still stalled in a lot of respects, and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Of course, it passed in the House. It did not pass in the Senate. And so I want to talk more about that next week. I want to get some more information, do some more research, and talk about that next week. So I know those 2 things we'll talk about next week, but this week, I'm gonna keep things a little bit light because there's a few things that I want to share. Give me just a second. Let me type this in. Awesome. And I'm typing it in, you all, because I like to do a welcome. So for those of you, I do like to do a little welcome. All right. All right, so again, welcome to Sip and Say with Stephanie. I'm so glad that you're here to hear my heart and to hear my thoughts. And hopefully you'll share some of your own. Feel free to add something to the chat, add something to the comment section. I would love to hear what you have to say. I'll also be adding a poll to our podcast and probably a question. So make sure that you tune in on Spotify every Thursday evening at 10 p.m. So if you missed YouTube Live, or if you want to go back and listen to the broadcast while you're at work or while you're driving in your car, you can do that on our podcast, the Stephanie Humphrey channel, via Spotify. Okay, all right. So look, y'all, I was like a minute late because I forgot. I'm sitting here waiting for 6:30 and it's 6:29. I'm just like, I forgot to get my sip. So I had to push pause for a second, run to my refrigerator and grab out my sip for the night. So look, y'all, I'm going to be sipping on a Dublin Winery Muscadine. It's an alcohol-free Muscadine, and I put it in the fridge. I think today's Thursday. I think on Tuesday. I was like, oh, I better put my Muscadine in the refrigerator. So I'm going to open this with you, and I'm going to pour a glass. I might have to get up and get me a knife. I thought oh, there it is. I was like, I thought they had a little perforated portion of this seal so that I could open it, and they do. So I'm gonna open my scarpinade with you. What are you all drinking tonight? Type it in the chat. So look, y'all, I was between drinking hot chocolate with my peppermint spoon or my scarpinade. So I was actually gonna drink my hot chocolate tonight, but it was like I said, 6:29, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't have anything. So I had to grab my scarpinade, which is good, because we might do us a little toast tonight for the new year. Since we haven't, this is the first sip and stay with Stephanie of the new year, so we might do us a little toast. So what are you all drinking? Are you all drinking some scarpinade, some muscadine, some Zephaniel? Like, what are y'all drinking? Some water, hot chocolate tea, lemonade, what alcohol free, nothing to do with the drink, whatever is available, and what your preference is. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour my scarpinade, and I'm gonna take a sip. So you all, I hope you all had a great day today. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, I have had a wonderful day today, but for no particular reason. Like, nothing special happened today. Nothing was going on out of the ordinary. I just had a really great day today at work. We had Dr. King. We honored his birthday on Monday, so we were not working on Monday. I didn't do any service projects because there was snow and ice on the ground in my city. So what I ended up doing is I ended up calling family who I hadn't talked to in a little while, and talked to them, and checked on them to see how they were doing. And we sat, I guess we were sitting, whatever they were doing at their house, we talked, we chatted. And so that was how I honored Dr. King. Since I couldn't go anywhere, I was like, well, I'm going to check on my family, make sure that everybody is doing okay. And so how did you celebrate? Like, what did you do? Were you stuck in the house like I was because of the weather? Were you able to get out? Oh, I also watched some programming that was on for Dr. King. We have a breakfast that occurs in my city, well, in a neighboring city rather. And so they did that, the breakfast, excuse me, they did the breakfast virtually. So I was able to watch that. And Bishop Vashti McKenzie was a speaker for that event. So it was really good. And there were a few other events that were going on that I did not participate in, or did not listen to rather, but I am going to go back and listen to some broadcasts, because I saw some really good events and programs going on to honor Dr. King. So as his family said, one great way to have honored Dr. King was to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which again, it did not happen. We'll talk more about it next week, but it did not happen to pass in the House, did not pass in the Senate. We'll get into that next week. I'm going to try to keep it light this week. Okay, I'm going to take a little sip. Supposed to be a sip, but I'm gulping. I'm gulping that down. I guess I was thirsty. I haven't had my drink of water. So anyway, let's get into some of what I want to share. So if you all have noticed, I am wearing it's actually burgundy, but my former purple that I was wearing this evening a year ago when President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris were inaugurated. It was June 20th. Well, I'm sorry, it wasn't a Thursday, but I think it was a day or two after. And so for that sip and say, it was a third Thursday after the inauguration, so it was sip and say. So I wore this particular top. I did have my pearls on. I was like, where are my pearls? My pearls are not in my house. Pearls are not presently with me. They're not on the premises right now. So I wasn't able to put my pearls on, but I did put on my pearl earrings. So to honor Vice President Kamala Harris. So it was a year ago since the inauguration happened. You all can see that sip and say inauguration. It was an inaugural sip and say for me. It was my very first sip and say. So it was an inauguration for me for sip and say with Stephanie, and then for President Biden and Vice President Harris. And so, I mean, what do y'all think has happened? Like, how do you feel they have done in their first year of being president and vice president? Do you think that they accomplished some of the promises that they made on the campaign trail? Do you feel like they have not come through with any of their promises? Like, how are you feeling? What do you think about what they have accomplished or maybe not have accomplished in this first year? I remember saying a year ago to give President Biden and Vice President Harris grace to undo some of the things that were done in the previous 4 years. And so I'm still going to continue to give him grace, just like I did Trump. I did not like everything that Trump did, but I still prayed for him. Like, I'm going to still pray for President Biden and President Harris, but I'm just curious to know, you all add it to the chat, add it to the comment section for the rebroadcast. So I just wanted to highlight just a few things. So President Biden and Vice President Harris, they were able to get a 1.9 trillion COVID relief deal passed. So that was great. They were able to get that to the American people. They were able to get roughly 72% of Americans fully vaccinated, that meaning the 2 doses of Moderna and Pfizer, or your 1 dose of Johnson & Johnson, not the boosters, but we're just talking about the initial vaccination. So they're able to get about 72% of Americans vaccinated, which is amazing. They were able to get a 1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill passed. And I don't remember which sip and stay it was, but I did talk a little bit about the infrastructure bill during a previous sip and stay. I went through a few of them, or a few portions of the bill, and highlighted what was important to me in the infrastructure bill. And I do remember putting the link for the information. Like, it was a lot. Like, it was like the website, it was a lot, because there are a lot of different parts of the infrastructure bill. At least I call it parts. It might have an official name, but there are several sections, I guess I can say, embedded within the infrastructure bill. And so I read or highlighted a few things that were important to me. One was about childcare, about early education, because that's my area. So I remember reading, some of the highlights of the infrastructure bill within that. No, that's not right. I'm sorry. It was a bill. That was a Build Back Better. Okay. I think I mentioned the infrastructure bill, but I think the Build Back Better highlighted the early learning and early education. So sorry about that. That was my mistake. But we'll talk a little bit more. And maybe I'll add the infrastructure bill for next week. Maybe I'll add it in as I talk about the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Build Back Better. So maybe I'll add that in next week, the infrastructure bill. Another highlight of the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration, is the unemployment rate drop, y'all, to 4.2%. So I can't remember what it was previously. I didn't look up that information. I should have, but I didn't look it up. But it did drop to 4.2%, which is great, because y'all know throughout the pandemic, our fellow citizens, they were losing their jobs left and right. And so we're glad that unemployment has dropped. A few disappointments, or a few things that did not happen that we were really wanting and hoping, or at least I'll say that I was really wanting and hoping to happen this first year with the Biden-Harris administration, is the Build Back Better bill. It did not pass. So they're still working through that. And like I said, I'll get more into that next week, but it did not pass in the Senate. It didn't pass. So that's still lingering. It's still lingering, y'all. The Voting Rights Act, again, it passed in the House, but it did not pass in the Senate. So that's still lingering after a year, y'all. I don't remember when the Build Back Better Act, I think it's called an act. I don't remember when it was released, or not released, but when it was presented or released, officially released. Is that the right terminology? When it was introduced. Thank you. That's why the Holy Ghost reminds me of things, y'all. Thank you, Holy Ghost. It was introduced. I don't remember the date it was introduced, but the John Lewis Voting Rights Act was introduced on January 3rd. Was it January 3rd? Let me see if I put it in. If I'm not yes, it was January 3rd. It was released on January 3rd, 2021, y'all. It's been over a year since that act has been introduced into law. No, well, been introduced to be passed as a law, and it has not happened. So that's those two things for me are major disappointments. And I know that the president and the vice president cannot do everything on their own. The Congress has to work with them. And we have seen, and we saw under President Obama, where the Republicans did not want to work with him. Like they intentionally sabotaged some of the things that he wanted to get accomplished. Democrats did some things when Trump was in office. I'm not quite sure why Republicans and Democrats cannot work together for the good of the American people. Like if y'all have an answer for why they can't work together, y'all please let me know. We teach, and I think I remember saying this or another broadcast, we teach our 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and 5-year-old pre-K EC students how to work together, how to come together, how to problem solve. So I know if my EC babies who are 3, 4, and 5 can work together, can problem solve, can share, can just do things for the betterment of the classroom, surely, I said surely, adults, grown folk can surely come to some type of compromise or some type of agreement for the good of the American people. I have not been able to put my finger on it. Pride, arrogance, folks not wanting to humble themselves for the good of the American people, like congressmen and women, our House representatives, our senators, all of those individuals who we elect in office were elected in office to work for the people. They were elected to work in their particular district, in their particular area. That's what they were elected to do. But as we see in Congress, you all, oftentimes the Republicans and Democrats are working for themselves. Like we'll just say it how it is. They're working for themselves. And I can't even tell you how things got lost in translation from the time that they were elected to the House of Representatives or into being a U.S. Senator. When at the time that they got elected, okay, let's backtrack. At the time that they were campaigning and making all these promises, to the time they got elected, to the time they got on the Senate floor and the House floor, I don't know what changed in the translation, in that translation of that translation of all of that happening. What happened? Initially, you're working for the people, but then you get to the House floor or the Senate floor, and you end up doing whatever you want to do for your Republican Party or for your Democratic Party. The change shifts from you working for your constituents to you working for a political party. Y'all, did y'all hear what I said? You're shifting. I'm talking to the Republicans and the Democrats. I'm talking to the House Representatives as well as the senators. Your focus shifts from working for your constituents in your district, in your area, to working for a political party. Like how did that get lost in translation? Like when did that happen? Like I do not understand why Congress cannot come together to work for the American people. It still boggles my mind. Again, if y'all have an answer, please tell me so my mind won't be boggled anymore. So I won't be trying to figure out like what the heck is going on with these people. And that we elected to serve us, to represent us, to speak for us, to fight for us. It's disheartening. It is. It just is what it is. That's just how I'm feeling about it. I'm still happy, don't get me wrong, but it's disheartening to know that Republicans and Democrats can't work together, and in some situations refuse to work together. And I'm telling you, it's a spirit of pride. It just is what it is. It's to sip and say with Stephanie, I'm gonna say what I'm saying. It's a spirit of pride. Like, can we humble ourselves so that we can do what's best for this country? Like, when are we gonna get that? Through our thick skulls, that humility. Like, Jesus was the greatest servant of our life. He was the greatest person, not just man, but person to ever walk the face of the earth, the absolute greatest. And he humbled himself and he served his constituents, if you will. He served the people that God sent, which was everybody. God sent him here for everybody. He served everybody. You know, he didn't serve us directly. You know, we weren't in biblical, but he served his disciples. He served the people that were living at that time. He humbled himself as a servant and he served. So how is it that the senators and House representatives are missing the part of service in being a House representative and a U.S. senator? Like, how are you missing the service part? If y'all know, let me know. I had not planned to talk. I have not planned to say all of that, but you know what? It just is what it is. It's to sit and say with Stephanie, you all, we need to pray for our legislators, pray for our local, state, and government and federal leaders. We need to pray for them to serve the constituents that they were elected to serve and just follow the plan of God. You know, just follow the plan of God, just humble themselves. We need to constantly be on our knees for the people who represent us. And if you're not a voter, get registered and vote. Y'all, you know what? Here in my state, Lord, they have made me mad. I just remembered that they're trying to push. So in my particular county, we're supposed to vote in the primaries. We're supposed to vote in March of this year. Our election day got pushed back. So now I know it's the Republicans, they are wanting to push. The voting date got pushed back to May. So first it was March, I think March 8th, if I'm not mistaken. Then it got pushed back to May. Now the Republicans are asking for it to be pushed back in June. And the date that they're asking for is June 8th. That's the last week of school for us, y'all. And in my state and in my county in particular, or in the county that I work in, we use the schools, like we use the schools as voting places, as well as other, locations, because I voted at the church, but we use the schools. So I'm just like, this is the last week of school. We're going to be testing. We're going to be doing graduation. Like, we don't have time to have all these folks in our school with this COVID going on. I don't even know if classrooms are doing graduation for 5th grade and for kindergarten and 12th grade. I don't know what that's going to look like because of the pandemic and the Omicron variant, but they're looking to push it back, y'all, because they're trying to get the lines right. With I don't know if it's every 4 years or 2 years, I would have to look it up to see, but redistricting lines are drawn, and oftentimes they are drawn in the favor of whoever is in charge, whether it's the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. And so they're trying to redraw some lines in my state, and they're trying to push voting back. And I hope that I don't know if it's gone before the courts, that piece of that piece, I don't remember if it's gone before the courts or not. I think it has. I think it is before the courts for them to push it back in June, or push it back to June. I hope that they don't. I hope that we just can go ahead and vote in the primaries in May. That way the school environment, or what we need to do to like end the year for our kids and get them ready for the summer, because we do have summer programs in the county that I work in. I'm hoping that we can just do what we need to do without having to worry about setting portions of our school up for voting polls. So anyway, I had forgotten about that, but that just came back to my memory. So y'all, pay attention to what's going on in your county. Pay attention to what's going on in your state. If you've never called your legislator, like if there is a bill that's coming up that you're passionate about, call your House of Representatives, call your senators, email them, text them, write them, I don't know if you may not be able to visit them now because of the Omicron variant and COVID. You may not be able to do any visits, but hopefully we can get back to a place where we can go visit our legislators. Have I visited my legislators? Yes, I have. Have I written them letters? No, I haven't. Well, yes, I did. Yes, I did. One summer I did my students, I wrote them letters. Normally I'm going because I want to see them face to face. So I have actually had some face to face conversations with our senators and our House of Representatives. I've gone to their offices. I've gone to the legislative building. I've been to the General Assembly. I've sat in some of their meetings, and it's ridiculous. And at some kind of, depending on what's going on, it can be ridiculous. And so, yes, I have called my representatives and senators. Yes, I have. So I don't know if I would consider myself politically active, but I would consider myself politically aware. And if it's a cause that I'm passionate about, and I want my senators and House representatives to fight for what I want them to fight for, I'm going to make contact. And so I encourage you to do the same. Like if it's something, again, a bill, an act that you feel passionate about, that you feel strong about, contact your representatives. They are there to serve you. All right. That's my soapbox. I had not planned to stay there for this long, but it is what it is. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to take a sip because my throat is feeling a little dry. That actually wasn't a sip, it actually was a gulp, but it's okay. Okay, so look, y'all. We know that we lost, I'm sorry, I got caught up with some other notes. I want to make sure I said everything about the Biden-Harris administration. So they have been able to accomplish some things, and some things that they are still working on. They have 3 more years to hopefully get things done. And so we just celebrate the 1-year anniversary, or I celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Biden-Harris administration. Happy anniversary, y'all. All right, so this year, so far, we've lost, I don't know, how many people we've lost so far this year, because I don't know about your family or your friends or your neighborhood, but people that are well known, Sidney Poitier passed away January 6th. Betty White wasn't this year, but it was December 31st, 2021. And Bob Saget passed away January 9th. So we know Sidney Poitier. I mean, y'all, I had to go back and watch me some Uptown Saturday Night and Let's Do It Again. If y'all have a class action or a class act, it's called a class act. I haven't seen all of that one yet, and I don't have that here, but I do have Uptown Saturday Night and Let's Do It Again on TV. Y'all, so Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier star in this trilogy of movies, and Sidney Poitier, he directs this trilogy of movies. Came out in 70. I think the first one, Uptown Saturday Night, came out in 74, if I'm not mistaken, 74 or 75. And then the other two y'all, if y'all haven't seen those, or if you haven't watched them in a long time, go back and watch them. It is hilarious. Bill Cosby's character is always getting them in trouble. And Sidney Poitier's character is always trying to rescue them. First of all, he's trying to keep them out of trouble, but they normally get in trouble. He's trying to get them out of trouble. So it's so much fun. It's so hilarious. Patch of Blue is another film that Sidney Poitier, I think that was probably back. It was a black and white, so it's been a while ago. I haven't seen all of Patch of Blue, but Sidney Poitier plays in that with a young lady who's blind. And I can't tell you what all the movies about, because I've only seen little clips. I haven't seen a full one, but we have that one. We have a Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Katharine Hepburn, and was it Dick Tracy? I know Katharine Hepburn played the mom. I think Tracy Spencer, I think it was. I can't remember right now. Maybe I'll look it up. But Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is a really good movie with Sidney in it. I've seen that one a few times. Some of Sidney Poitier's I've never seen him in an action movie outside of Uptown Saturday Night and Let's Do It Again. But I know he's done some action movies throughout his years. But over the last year, I think it was last year in 2021, I saw 2 movies with him. The first one was The Last Brick Maker, The Last Brick Maker in America. If y'all have not seen that movie, check it out. It is a really good movie. I didn't even know. I think I don't know when it came out, but Sidney's older. So I know it's probably been within the last maybe 5 or 6 years that has come out. It's a really good movie. He literally is the last brick maker in America. And so he takes us through the process of how to make bricks within the storyline, and it's really good. And the other one that I just now I'm gonna have to look up, it's about Dearborn. Oh gosh, it's about Sidney's character lives isolated. He lives very isolated on his own land, his own I would say a farm. And there is a big corporation, which often happens. They want to build, I think, a mall or something, but they want his land as a part of the rest of the land to build this mall or whatever it is they're trying to build. So the guy who is over it, he uses his girlfriend. Well, I won't tell you the whole story, but it is really good. It's really good, y'all. Let me see if I can find the name of that one really quickly. It is called, and of course he did in the Heat of the Night, A Raisin in the Sun. He did A Raisin in the Sun with Ossie Davis's wife. I can't think of her name right now. Ruby Dee. He did that with Ruby Dee. So Raisin in the Sun is a good movie as well. And I forgot he was Mr. Tibbs. They called me Mr. Tibbs in the heat of the night. To Serve with Love, Lilies of the Field. So he made so many amazing movies. Like I saw The Jackal, but I couldn't remember Sydney in The Jackal. I saw that some years ago. But some of his other movies like Deadly Pursuit and Sneakers, Blackboard Jungle, I've never seen any of those. I forgot what I was supposed to be looking up for you all. The movie that I wanted to share with you. I forgot to write it down because I thought I was going to remember. Oh, The Simple Life of Noah Dearborn. I know Dearborn. The Simple Life of Noah Dearborn is really good. It's very both that one and that one came out in 99 and The Last Maker of America came out in 2001. They're very like calm movies, very peaceful movies. He plays a man who just has a very simple life. He doesn't need a lot of thrills. He's kind of by himself, kind of like I said, living isolated. But the movies have such a wonderful message. So if you get a minute to watch both of those, how did I watch them? I think I watched them on Tubi. There is a free streaming service called Tubi. It's Tubi, and I feel like I watched both of them on Tubi. I know I watched The Last Maker of America on Tubi. The Simple Life of Noah Dearborn could have been on IMBD. It was something free, whatever it was a free streaming channel. And I was able to watch both of those. So anyway, he passed away. And I'm talking about him more just because, Sidney Poitier, he was a classy man. And I just really admired his work and his activism because he was an activist as well. I watched a clip of Sidney Poitier. He was doing an interview and I can't remember what the interviewer asked him, but Sidney came back. His words are so much better than mine, but just my paraphrase from what I can remember. He was basically saying, like, why are you asking me this question? Like, you're limiting me to a Black man. I'm more like, there's many layers of me, many facets of me. There's more to me than just being a Black man. Oh, the way he laid it out, I was just like, yes, Mr. Poitier, yes. So I'm going to actually link that clip in the description once the video is over because it was really good. So he was also an activist as well. So I really honor him and I appreciated the life that I saw him living on the screen and just off the screen. And so, yeah, so I honor him. So moving on, y'all know I'm not a parent. But when I saw this, I was actually on YouTube and I don't know what video I was watching, but I was on YouTube and this this story this story popped up, y'all. If y'all are a parent, like if you have kids, brace yourself for this. And let me take a sip. Y'all, let me take a sip. When I first read it, and I didn't even watch the video, y'all. I just was like, I refuse to watch this video. When I read the heading, I actually went and looked up a news article on it because I did not want to watch the video. Let me take a sip. When I was reading it, it made me mad. I'm laughing at it now because it's so ridiculous that it just don't make sense. But y'all parents, y'all let me know what y'all think about it. So there's a woman. Her name is Sarah Beam, an English teacher. She allegedly, on January 3rd, allegedly had her 13-year-old son. She asked him to get in the trunk of her car. Allegedly, her 13-year-old son had him to get in the trunk of her car, close the trunk while she drove. He was positive for COVID. Okay, so her son, 13-year-old son, was positive for COVID. In order to protect herself from getting COVID, she has her 13-year-old son to get in the trunk. She closed the trunk and drives him to a COVID testing center so that they can do additional tests. Yeah, y'all heard me right. She had her 13-year-old son to get in the trunk of her vehicle, and she drove him to the testing center. I don't have no kids. I don't have any children. Praise God. Thank you, Jesus. What do y'all parent that's just that was the main part of the story. Like she had her what do y'all think about this? Like y'all parents, holler at me, add it to the chat, add it to the comment section. What do y'all think about this? Like I'm thinking of different scenarios that could have happened. If he was positive for COVID, which he was, according to mom, she could have masked up. She could have had him masked up and he could have sat in the back, like she's in the driver's seat, right? He could have sat across from her or a catty corner from her, diagonal from her in the back seat. So at least you have some distance like that. She could have, maybe she didn't have any face shields. I was about to say if she had a face shield, maybe she could have had him to wear a face shield just to protect, you know, himself from her, or if she could have put one on, or both of them could have put one on. She even could have had him to lay down, like maybe to create even more distance. You have your mask on, he has his mask on, and have him in his seatbelt, but maybe have him to lay down in the seat a little bit, you know, so that he can be even further distance away from you. She was scared to get COVID, y'all. So that's when she had her son in her. So when they got to the testing site, the director of the testing site she reported that she saw the child lying in the trunk of this car, this vehicle, and she immediately called the police. So the police did arrest her, or yes, she was arrested and charged for, let me make sure I get it right, child endangerment. She was released on bond, a $1,500 bond. When she went to the court for her hearing, the judge, who was Judge Chris Morton, he found no probable cause, which meant he didn't see that child endangerment was an issue. He didn't see there was no cause for her to be arrested, for her to be charged, and she was released. That's according to the court record, y'all. So the district attorney in that particular county said this happened in Texas, and yeah, in Houston, Texas. So the district attorney in Harris County, he can pursue additional charges if he chooses to do that. Will he do that? Probably not. But he has that option to pursue additional charges if he so chooses. So, what y'all think? I see somebody added a deplorable parental choice. They should. I don't understand why she was released. Like, well, let me backtrack. If you pay your bond, you can be released. But a $1,500 bond for something like that, like I feel like she shouldn't have gotten a bond. And the judge definitely should have. He should not have determined it was no probable cause. Like she didn't do anything wrong. Is basically what he was saying. That's crazy. I also got another report she wasn't going far enough for him to give it to her. I agree, because it was a short distance. I don't know the mileage of between like her house and the COVID testing site, but it was a short distance, which I'm not trying to justify what she did at all, but I'm thinking she thought in her mind we're only going like 5 minutes, however 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however many minutes it was up the road, so it should be okay. So I agree, it wasn't even long enough for her to get COVID from him, but he's still your child. Like, I in the trunk of the car, like that's where people, y'all, I'm not advocating crime at all, but that's where people put like bodies and different things, like things that they're trying to hide. And she puts her breathing, living son in a trunk. Like, I don't know if that traumatized him. I don't know his state of mind, you know, lying in that dark trunk, knowing his mom put him there. Like, I don't know. I don't know that. Yes, I agree. She should have had to do some community service, something. She definitely was arrested and charged, but the judge released her because he didn't find probable cause to keep her or for her to go to trial. I I mean, I have some nieces and nephews that get on my nerves, and Lord knows sometimes but I would never abuse them. I would never neglect them. I might want to put my hands on them and just lift them up to the wall or something, but I've never put my hands on them in that way, even though it's But putting some like I'm gonna let this story go, y'all. I'm really gonna let it go. But I don't understand the judge's perspective in not sending her to trial and there being some more formal charges. I don't know. And like I said earlier, I don't think the Harris County District Attorney, she's white, y'all. Let's just say it how it is. And I don't think he's going to push for any charges. But you know what this made me think of, y'all? This made me think of, I think it was in 2016. I think I wrote the date down. Yes, it was in 2016. There was a young lady, her name is Kelly Williams Bowler. The school district that her children went to, they accused her of lying about her address. They accused her of falsifying records. And when she was confronted, she was accused of having her father file false court reports to get her children in a new school system. So what it was is she lived in one school district. She wanted her two girls to go to another school district. And so when the school district found out, they charged her with falsifying records, lying about her address. They didn't charge her, I'm sorry, they accused her. Let me make sure I'm using the right terminology. They accused her of lying about her address, falsifying records, and when confronted, having her father, because it was her father's address in the other school district, having her father file false court reports to get around the system. They accused her of doing this, y'all. Not only did they accuse her of doing this, this was a Black mother that wanted a better learning environment for her children. I'm not saying that she should have lied if that's what happened. I'm just saying she wanted a better opportunity for her children. The school district, y'all, I work for a school district, and I wish, so the school district hired a private investigator, y'all. I have never heard of this ever happening before. If y'all have heard about, ever heard about this happening like in another district, drop it in the chat. The school district hired a private investigator. First of all, what money did y'all use? Because we have federal money, we have state money, and we have local funds that are poured into our school for the kids, for teacher salaries and benefits, all of that, but for the children. So where did y'all find the money to hire a private investigator who shot video of Miss Kelly driving her children into the school district? So the school district wanted her to pay back. I'm assuming this was a private school. I didn't look up the name of the school, but they wanted her to pay back $30,000 in tuition to the school. She decided she's not going to do that. She was sentenced, y'all, to 10 days in a county jail. 10 days in jail because, you know, the quote unquote, the allegedly falsifying of records. She was sentenced to 10 days in a county jail, and she was put on probation for 3 years. She didn't harm her kids, but she got 10 days in jail and 3 years probation. But we got this woman who really did endanger her child by putting him in a trunk. Even if it was 1 minute, he could have had a panic attack. He could have had some anxiety going on. Anything could have happened to him with his breathing or anything. So she's released, walking free, but this woman who allegedly falsified documents to get her children in a better school, a Black mother, she spends 10 days in jail and 3 years of probation. Y'all can't tell me that there is justice in our criminal system. There is some justice some of the time for our people, but there is justice almost all the time for white people. Just sip and say what Stephanie, so I'm gonna say what I want to say. Justice some of the time for my people, for my Black and brown people. Justice most of the time, and oftentimes all the time for white people. It just is what it is. What y'all think about it? So that's what it made me think of when I thought about this mom locking her child in the trunk. The judge releasing her, letting her go, but then we have this Black mother over here. And I know that the situations are not similar. They're not similar at all, but that's where my mind went to. I was like, no, let me look up this case, because there was a mama and she spent some time in jail, 10 days for allegedly falsifying some documents, y'all. Anywho, we're gonna move on. Let me see what y'all added to the chat. Y'all, I'm just like, y'all can't tell me this justice system is just, it's the injustice system. I'm just gonna say what it is. Yes, yes, we definitely receive excessive punishment. Black and brown people receive excess judgment for anything that we do. There was another mother whose name I don't remember her name, but she spent some time in jail for a similar situation as Miss Kelly, as far as like allegedly falsifying documents to get her child in a different school. But then I think she had some other things going on related to that case as well. So I didn't share her information here, but I'm like, can you see the discrepancies of how white people are treated and Black and brown people are treated? You got to be stupid not to see the differences. This Stephanie say what Stephanie, I'm gonna say what I want to say. You just got to be ignorant, stupid, to not see the discrepancies. There was a clip, you all, and I'm just remembering it right now, that Stevie Wonder, I'm gonna look it up. Stevie Wonder had some comments about something on one of the talk show. I think it was on Stephen Colbert. I don't watch his show, but I remember it coming up in the YouTube. And if I find it, I'm gonna put it in the description. But he had some comments, I think, about the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. But anyway, it was good. And somebody made a comment like, if Stevie Wonder can see that this isn't right, everybody ought to be able to see. Everybody ought to be able to see that white people have a privilege, that they can get away with almost murder and have gotten away with murder and been free. But we can do, y'all, there is a man, I know my mind keeps thinking, none of this is in my notes. There is a man, I'm gonna put his information in the description, and I can't remember his name, and I can't remember what state this is in, because I watched it was on Roland Martin Unfiltered. It was a couple of weeks ago where I watched the broadcast, so I didn't write down the information. I think I was like cleaning or doing something. I didn't write down the information. But this Black man has spent 47 years in jail for being the lookout. He was just a lookout, making sure ain't nobody coming, the cops ain't coming. He was a lookout, y'all, for a murder that happened. He was with a group of people, whoever he was with, he was a lookout. This all he doing, y'all. This all he looking at, y'all. He spends 47 years and is still in jail right now, y'all, for being a lookout. You can't tell me that there aren't differences between how white people are treated and how they are punished or not punished, and how Black and brown people are treated and are punished and not punished. And I'm done. And like Forrest Gump says, and that's all I have to say about that. That is all. Thank y'all for all the chats, the comments. They should make her get in the trunk of a car for an ample amount of time. I know that's right. Yes, excessive punishment for the mom, the 10 days in jail, and the 3 years probation. Yes, y'all, I'm telling you, that's the trip. So let me move. Oh, y'all, I know I've got to move on because my show about to come on. All right, so my show about to come on at 8 o'clock, and I'm gonna tell y'all about the show. But let me move on. So y'all, I wanted to just mention that Maya Angelou is the first woman to be minted on the quarter. Yay. Now, y'all, when I saw the picture, though, I do have a discrepancy. Now, I'm not a graphic artist. I don't draw. I will draw you a stick figure, and that's going to be about it. So I'm not a graphic artist. I don't sculpt, I don't design. That is not my area, that belongs to somebody else. But when I looked at the design of the quarter that has it don't look like her. Is it supposed to look like her? Like, I'm like, the quarter, George Washington's face, it looked like him. Lincoln on the penny looks like him. Who's on the quarter, y'all? I mean, who's on the nickel and the dime? Whoever's on the nickel and the dime, like, it looks like them. I can't remember the president. It looks like the Maya Angelou quarter, to me, does not look like her. What do y'all think? Have y'all seen it? It's a beautiful picture. It kind of has her doing something like this. It's a beautiful picture, but to me, it's not her features. And then it's not a full out, like the other coins have like a full, it's a half of a face, but it's outlined and it's kind of in front, where as a Maya Angelou quarter, her face is small, and then it kind of has like the rest of the design. I don't like it. I'm gonna just say it. I don't like it because it doesn't look like her. The design is kind of reflective of her freedom. But it just doesn't look like her. Have y'all seen it? If y'all seen it, what do y'all think about it? Like, do y'all think it looks like her? I mean, I appreciate that they are honoring her. She's actually the first woman to be minted on the quarter, like I just said, but it's part of their American Woman Quarters program. It just don't look like her to me. You know, I'm thankful that they are honoring Miss Maya Angelou in this way. I'm very thankful for that. But I just wish the quarter was a little more reflective of what she actually looks like. And they'll be releasing the quarter pretty soon. If it's not already in circulation, they'll be releasing the quarter soon. I know I am gonna get it. I'm gonna probably put it up somewhere, just like a collector's item. But you know, I'm glad again that they are honoring her in this way, and it is the first quarter. It just, you know, it doesn't look like her. Then it made me think about Harriet Tubman, y'all, who in 2016, who was a former Treasury Secretary Levy, he announced that, you know, Harriet Tubman will be on the $20 bill. It's 2022 and she's still not on the bill. Well, I did a little bit of research and found out that under Trump's time as president, he decided to delay the release of Harriet Tubman's $20 bill. He decided to delay the release until 2030 to 2030. I'm about to say 2031, was actually 2030. But right now, President Biden is looking into reinstating like the printing of the Harriet Tubman $20 bill. So if I get any updates about that, I will let you all know at Sip and Say. All right, so moving right along. All right, y'all, my Tuesday shows. This is gonna be my wrap up. Well, almost my wrap up because I gotta watch my show. All right, so on Tuesdays, y'all, I normally don't watch shows in the evenings, like the new shows that have been coming out. Like the last recent show that I have ever watched, well, 911 on Fox. I watch 911 on Fox on Monday nights. Like that's the last show. Well, that's the current show that I'm watching. It's not, you know, showing right now because the season ending happened a couple of months ago. But like that's the only recent show that I'm watching. But I was watching Judge Steve Harvey. Like Judge Steve Harvey was released like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, let me just sit in and see what foolery is going to be happening with Steve Harvey. And I'm gonna take a sip. Have y'all watched his show? If y'all haven't, like, it is hilarious. Some of the judgment, first of all, Steve Harvey is not a judge. He's never been to law school. He will say on his show, I ain't no real judge, and he's not. But he does take into account the facts of the cases that are presented to him. And he has actually made some pretty good judgments with the different family members and friends that have come in, because it's only been family members and friends that have come in so far, y'all. And wait a minute, there was no, they're not. There were a couple of cases where people who didn't, one case where they didn't know each other, and one they knew each other, but not, you know, whatever. The cases are hilarious, and some of them are just stupid, just is what it is. But he, like I said, makes some pretty good judgments. I don't know, I haven't been able to figure out if the judgments will stick since he's not a real judge. I don't know if the plaintiff or defendant, whoever wins the case or whoever loses, I don't know if they actually have to follow his ruling. That is what I haven't figured out yet. But the show is hilarious. It's really interesting to see what people will bring to, and they don't even call it suing. I'm suing you for this amount or for whatever. They just talk about it as cases being presented to Steve Harvey. But the cases are something ridiculous, y'all. Like, there was this one case that came, y'all, this was hilarious. So y'all who are married or who have a significant other, y'all tell me what y'all think about this. This was like, I think his first showing. There was a man that came on and he wanted a reimbursement he hired a private caterer. So he wanted to do a romantic dinner for his girlfriend. And so he had rented out this hotel space and he had hired a caterer to cater the event between him and his girlfriend. They go over the menu, go over the price and everything like that. he hires a young lady he used to date. So he got his new girlfriend on this romantic evening. He said he really wanted to go all out for her, but he hires a young lady he used to date to be the caterer. So they show the menu. I can't remember what was on the menu, but everything looked really good on the menu that the two of them discussed. When it came time for the young lady to actually do the catering or to, prepare this dinner for her used to be guy friend, used to be, romantic guy friend, and his new girl, y'all, she did not prepare what was on the menu. And there was one dish in particular that she prepared for this romantic dinner. Can y'all guess what it is? Like, think about the worst food that you would have on a romantic dinner. Like, what would be the worst food that somebody would bring to your table on a romantic dinner? You got this private caterer that you've done hired, personal chef that you hired for this romantic dinner, and they bring out a plate of this. What y'all think? I'm gonna tell y'all what it is. What y'all think? She fixed some chitlins, y'all. Chitlins were nowhere on the menu, y'all, but she fixed some chitlins. Because there was like an appetizer, there was a main dish, there could have been like a super salad somewhere in there, and then the dessert. Y'all, she brings out a plate of chitlins. to this for this romantic dinner. Needless to say, the gentleman said it ruined the evening, and he never said that him and his girlfriend are no longer together, but he alluded to the fact that they're no longer together. Or he may have said it out straight out. I can't remember, but they're no longer together. So he blamed the young lady he used to date for ruining this like perfect romantic dinner that he wanted to prepare. Y'all, first of all, my first problem was, why are you asking your person that you used to date to prepare food for you and your current date? Now, he said he knew that she cooked well, and he knows the young lady's family. He still like goes over to visit with them when he's in their hometown and things like that. But he wanted to give her a chance. First of all, no, sir, no, bro, don't do that. Don't. If you are a guy and you want to plan a romantic dinner for your wife or your girlfriend, your significant other, do not have a girl that you used to date cater the doggone meal. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because it really ended up in disaster. So y'all, I just wanted to throw that out there. So anyway, that was one of the cases that Judge Steve Harvey ruled over. And the gentleman wanted her to pay however much money to reimburse him for that night because she ruined the night. And Steve Harvey, he said no. He was like, no, you're not getting any money because you should not have hired her to do this. So he kind of like dismissed the case. Anyway, the show is hilarious. It's a lot of fun. There's usually 3 cases per episode. Well, I think the first episode, I think it was only 2 cases, but the other ones have been 2 or 3. It's usually 2 or 3. So if you get a chance to watch it on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock on ABC, check it out. So after Steve Harvey went off, I wasn't thinking about anything. The TV was just on, because I was like reading the tweets about the show. But Abbott's Elementary came on. Have y'all seen that show? It's a sitcom, comes on from 9 to 9:30. And so it's about these teachers in Philadelphia, and they are navigating through the joys and challenges of being teachers in this particular school with limited resources, trying to make it work for these kids. So it stars Shirley Ralph from The Mighty Quinn and from Moesha. It stars Quinta Brunson. I never seen her, I don't know her work, but she is hilarious. Tyler James Williams, y'all may remember him from Everybody Hates Chris. He is hilarious. All I need to see is his face. Like, his facial expressions are hilarious. Janelle James, Lisa Ann Walter, Chris Purforty, they all star in Abbott's Elementary. If you get a chance, check it out. It's hilarious. It's a lot of fun. Y'all, the thing that struck the last episode on Tuesday, the principal, who's played by Janelle James, I don't know how she got her administrative license, but she's doing a breakfast for the teachers, having a teacher, meeting, and she does breakfast for them. Y'all, guess what the breakfast was? It was some boxed cereal. Boxed cereal she bought for her teacher. She's hilarious. Like it's a really good show, and it really is reflective in some respects of how a lower income school operates with limited resources. So check it out. It's hilarious. I don't watch much Blackish, but they're in their last season. And so the first episode feature um, uh, former First Lady Michelle Obama, or forever First Lady Michelle Obama. So it was a good episode to watch. I'm not a Blackish fan, but I did watch that episode and have watched, a couple of more since then, since this is their last season. Queens comes on at 10. So I have never seen Queens before. I've seen it advertised, but I've never seen it before. So it stars Eve, Brandy, Naturi Naughton, Nadine Velasquez, Pepe Sanuga, Taylor Selly. I think that's how you say his last name. So it is about this girl group who comes back together for I guess for tours and concerts. I only started watching on episode 8. So I've seen episode 8 and 9. I couldn't see 10 because I was tired, so I went on to bed. But I have enjoyed it so far. So the episode between 8 and 9, the episode addressed women who are sexually assaulted in the music industry. And instead of that man, who is usually the man who is assaulting them, instead of him being charged, oftentimes, first of all, the young ladies usually don't come forward with the information as is reflective, in Queens. But even if they do come forward, he makes it seem like it was their fault. So anyway, they address this in episode 8 and 9, and they address it very well, y'all. So I really have enjoyed watching the 2 episodes that I've watched so far of Queens. So check it out. I wouldn't consider myself a Brandy fan, but I do love her music, and she has a beautiful voice and a beautiful range. I never have heard of any of Eve's music. She's a singer, rapper, but I've seen her acting, and I really like her in the shows that I've seen her in the movies I've seen her in. So anyway, check it out on Tuesday. Like that's my night for Black shows, and so check those out. ABC starting at 8, take you up to 11. I think you will enjoy some of those shows, if not all of them. Kings of Napa is a new show that has come out. I have not watched it yet, but it's a family who owns a winery, and I guess it takes you, through the joys and challenges of owning a winery, possibly with your family. Y'all, I don't think I would ever go into business with my family. Like, I love my family dearly, I really do, but I don't think I would ever go into business with my family. So for Kings of Napa, you have your patriarch, and I'm assuming a matriarch. I'm assuming it's a mother and a father. I really don't know. Haven't read the storyline, but whoever's over the family, I think the winery, or not the winery, but the vineyard is kind of being passed down to one of the 3 siblings. So if a business is passed down, then you do what you need to do. But as far as ever going into business with my family, I just wouldn't do it. Even if my mom was to pass down a business to me and my siblings, child, I would either run the business myself, or I'd be like, y'all can buy my shares, y'all can buy my portion of the business, because I love y'all, but I don't want to be in business with y'all. Praise the Lord. This is Sip and Say with Stephanie, and that's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. Praise God. So moving right along to, I need to wrap this up. So I'm going to tell you about the show that I'm going to be watching. Starts at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to tell you about that last. So let me tell you about this first. So I love Kerry Washington as an actor. I first saw her in the movie Save the Last Dance. Me, my cousin Lakichi, and 2 of the ladies from the church that we were all attending at that time, we went to see this movie, and it was really good, and I kind of fell in love with her as an actress. So I follow her career, since then. She's putting out an Audible. Audible is it is a company by Amazon, and they put out not podcasts, but they're podcasts, Audible podcasts. And so this is what I find interesting. And for y'all Christian people and Bible scholars, listen to this. She has a 3 series deal with Audible through her company, Simpson Street. And she's putting out Prophecy, Between Me and You, and The Last Black Queen. The podcast series that interests me the most is Prophecy. because what she has decided to do is reimagine the biblical stories of the Virgin Mary, Daniel in the lion's den, and Jonah and the whale. So that's going to be the first podcast series that she releases. And so in prophecy, I'm going to read, I got this from BET.com. So I'm going to read it word from word. I'm referencing them because these are their words. In prophecy, the Emmy-winning actress, Kerry Washington, she plays Virginia, a hydrologist. So an hydrologist studies how water moves through and across the earth. So she's a hydrologist. Her name, Virginia, so she's the Virgin Mary. In an 8-episode audio series that centers on a series of unexplainable events that happens simultaneously around the world. So the Virgin Mary is reimagined as this hydrologist. What y'all think about that? So Virginia, along with Daniel is a British zoo veterinarian, that Daniel in the lion's den. And then we got Jonah. Jonah is a commercial driver, y'all. Come on. So the series centers around how these three individuals fight for survival after they recognize that they are all connected in contemporary biblical reimaginings. I love Kerry Washington, but when I read this, I was just like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Like of all the things that you can do, why are you touching the Bible? Like, why are you touching this? This was my first reaction. I'm gonna tell you what my next, but this was my first reaction. Like, of all the things that you can do, of all the people you can talk about, of all the imagination that I'm sure you have, why are you messing with the Bible? Like, why are you messing with biblical people? Why are you messing with Jonah, Daniel, and the Virgin Mary and reimagining them to be these people? Because you know what I thought about when it talked about Daniel being a British zoo veterinarian, what it made me think about is, are you going to try to say because he was a veterinarian, then the lions whose mouths were shut by God when Daniel was in the lion, are you going to try to say that he had a relationship, like those lions knew him because he was a veterinarian, he had treated them, so that's why their mouths were shut? No. And so that's what it made me think about. So I'm just like, when you start touching the Bible, you better be careful. You just better be careful. You just better be careful. That was my first reaction. Like, Kerry Washington, what is you doing, girl? What do y'all think about that? Like, do y'all think that this would be a good witnessing tool? I don't know if Kerry says or not. That's none of my business. That's between her and the Lord. I'm just saying, what do y'all think? So that was my first reaction, because it was truly a reaction, not a response. I got to thinking about it later when I knew I was going to share this with that Sip and Say, and I'm just like, could this be used as a tool to invite people maybe who have never read the Bible, to invite them to go and, they're listening to this podcast, they're hearing the Virgin Mary, they're hearing Daniel in the lion's den, they're hearing Jonah and the whale, and maybe they want to do some more research, so it leads them to the Bible. So that was my thought a week later, which was this week, that maybe this could be used to draw people to the Bible or to God. Y'all, I don't know. I can't say. I'm going to have to listen and tune in and find that out. But I don't know. What do y'all think about it? I'm not 100% convinced that she should do this, but it's none of my business. This is her life, her business. She can do what she want to do. She don't need my permission for nothing. It just kind of struck me. So what do y'all think about it? Do y'all think that this would be a good witnessing tool? Do you all think that she should just leave the Bible alone? Add it to the chat or add it to the comment section. And I'm going to end with this because my show about to come on and I got to get my tissue ready and I got to get my Twitter ready and get my mind ready. So that's the podcast series called Prophecy. If you subscribe to Audible, check it out. I'm going to check it out because I want to hear about how the Virgin Mary and Daniel and Jonah are going to navigate 2022. I want to hear how they're going to navigate 2022. So the last thing that I would like to say with you tonight, or share with you tonight, is Women of the Movement. Have you all watched Women of the Movement? Women of the Movement is a 3-part docuseries on ABC. one of the executive producers is Will Smith. I don't want to say the wrong name. I know Will Smith for sure, but there's another rapper who is attached to the project. I can't remember if it's who I'm thinking it is, so I'm not going to say. You can check it out and look it up for yourself. But Women of the Movement is about Mamie Till Mobley and Emmett Till. So tonight is the last part. It's the third part of the 3-part series. I've been waiting for Thursday, y'all, because it's the last night. And so it started, the first episode started with, of course, introducing Miss Mamie and her mom, Miss Alma, and Uncle Mose, who was in Mississippi whenever Emmett Till was visiting and murdered. And it introduces her husband. What was his name? Gene Mobley introduces him. And so you see them at the dinner, they're at the table, they're having dinner, they're laughing, enjoying themselves. And then Emmett, Uncle Mo starts talking about, Mississippi, and Emmett expresses his desire to go. Initially, his mom was like, no, you're not going. Mississippi is not Chicago. It's two different, areas, two different, happenings going on. You got to keep your head down there. Like, you just can't be free in Mississippi. This was in 55. But his mom finally gives in, and he goes with Uncle Mose and a cousin. It was a cousin that lived in Chicago. The two of them went with Uncle Mose back to Mississippi, and we know what happened to Emmett Till. He was murdered for allegedly, since they like to use the word allegedly, whistling at a white woman, Carolyn Bryant. Y'all, Carolyn Bryant lives in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So anyway, this series takes you on, his visit in Mississippi, what happens at the store. It does take us up to what's his name? The two men who murdered him. I'm gonna have to look it up because I didn't write their name down. Malin is the last name. I didn't write their names down, so I'm gonna look it up real quick. But it takes you to where they came to Uncle Mo's home, and they drug him out. It takes you up to the murder. It takes you up to the body being identified. I mean, and we know that because Jet Magazine published a picture of what Emmett Till looked like, they did show they just showed a flash. Of course, it wasn't the same face, because this is, it was 2021, now 2022. I'm sorry, this has all happened in 2022, but they probably, recorded in 2021. But so it just showed a little flash. And of course, the face in the series did not look as damaged, as Emmett Till's face actually looked. But it took you through his mom going into the funeral. Y'all, there were so many pieces of information that I know, or that I knew, and then I learned so much. So it showed his mom actually going to the funeral home to identify the body, or to really look at the body. So this is the one thing I did not know. I did not know that the sheriff, who I see his face, but I can't think of his name, he tried to sow doubt that the body was Emmett Till's. I did not know that. Like, when watching Women of the Movement, that was a new piece of information about Emmett Till's murder that I did not know previously. So he tried to say the body wasn't Emmett Till's. What? Are you kidding right now? Because my thing was, if the body was not Emmett Till's, then why did you tell them to bury the body immediately? I didn't know that either. As soon as Uncle Mose came down to that river, it was the Tallahatchie River. When he went down to that river, identified Emmett Till's body, he identified the body mainly by a ring that his father had given him, and he was wearing that ring. And so that's one of the ways that his body was identified. According to, Women of the Movement. I haven't read Miss Mamie's book. The Women of the Movement is based on the book that Miss Mamie Till Mobley wrote herself. And so as soon as Uncle Mose identified the body, the sheriff told them, go bury it immediately. That's what he told them, go bury it immediately. Of course, they didn't do that. They pretended to bury the body, but the body was actually sent to a coroner, and he did do an autopsy on the body. It was a white coroner. He did the autopsy, and he told them that he would release the body to Uncle Mose and whoever was with Uncle Mose on one condition, that his mom never sees the body. That's what the coroner said. His mom, like no mom, no parent should have to see their child like this. So I will give y'all this body, but under the condition that his mom not see the body. So they send the body to Chicago, and the coroner or the funeral home there, who received his body, it was sent sealed. The casket was sent sealed. So when Miss Mamie went to, see her son's body, they told her, no, you cannot see, everything's sealed up. We received this body on the condition that you don't see it, So the funeral home was adamant, and she was like, because my thing is, when he said that, I was tweeting with everybody else. I was like, okay, so do you want to go get the crowbar, or do you want me to go get it? Because I'm about to open this casket. I don't care what nobody else can say. You want the crowbar? I'm gonna get the crowbar. Anyway, we all know that they did open, the casket, and they did lay his body out so his mom could see it. And we see that picture, or maybe, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but there's a picture with her and her husband there with Emmett Till's body. And so it takes us to that, and then it takes us to the court case. And tonight the court case is ending. You know what, y'all? I didn't really recognize, at the time that I was learning about Emmett Till, I didn't really recognize until I've been watching Women of the Movement how very brave Uncle Mose was to be a man in 1955 who stood up and said, these two white men, or in this one white man, he identified both men, but these are the people who came to my house, drug my nephew out here and killed him. Like, that was very brave of him. There was another young man, you all, I looked up his name last week when they first, introduced him. He was another gentleman. He actually had, he was a witness. They didn't have his name initially, but in talking to some people, they finally, got his name. And he testified, y'all, about what he saw. He actually saw the truck. He actually saw Emmett and heard Emmett screaming. He actually saw the other individuals that were at whatever the barn was, and the truck that transported him there. Like, he was able to share this in the court case. And of course, after he did change his last name, and he moved to Chicago just for his own safety. And he passed away recently, like maybe within the last 7 or 6 years. I can't remember. I have to look it up. Maybe I'll add it to the description so you guys can look it up for yourselves. But he actually testified as well and lived to tell it. The individual, they were so brave. The Black people who testified were very brave, and so I really appreciated them for coming forward, because it could have been like, no, they're gonna kill us, right? But they were very brave, and I appreciated that. So y'all, look, I'm about to wrap this thing up. If you haven't seen Women of the Movement, watch it tonight. Even if you haven't seen the other episodes, go ahead and watch it tonight. If you have Hulu, you can watch it tomorrow on Hulu, or you can watch the other parts on Hulu. The Women of the Movement is from 8 to 10, and then from 10 to 11, they do a series of When They See Us. And that's really good too. So I stay up to watch the whole 3 hours, because it's just it's encouraging to me. It's made me a little sad at some points of Women of the Movement, but it has been an encouragement to me to watch Miss Mamie and how strong and brave that she was in the face of all of this backlash and accusations and lies that surrounded her son's death. I'm going to say this last thing about it, and then I'm going to go, because I got to get ready to watch it. Oh, I did add it here. Roy Bryant, I did add their names here. I didn't realize I'd added it to my notes. But Carolyn Bryant was the woman who accused Emmett Till of whistling at her. Her husband, Roy Bryant, and then his brother-in-law, John William Mylan, we know that they were acquitted by an all-white jury, but they later confessed, because y'all know we have a law in the United States of double jeopardy. You can't be tried a second time for the same thing. So they, within a matter of months, they admitted to killing Emmett Till, sold their story, and they couldn't be tried again because they were already found out not guilty. But anyway, it was told later by a Duke University research scholar. His name was, I didn't write down his first name, but Tyson. He was a senior research scholar at Duke University. He claimed that he did an interview with Carolyn Bryant, where she recanted her story, where she said that did not what she initially said about Emmett Till whistling at her, that she recanted. She lived in Raleigh, North Carolina, y'all. Okay. She said when the Department of Justice talked to her, she told them that she did not make those claims, that she did not say those things didn't happen. So it's like, you lying. Either way, you're lying. Either you lied the first time or you're lying this time. Somewhere Miss Carolyn has lied. Anyway, she's living out her life. She's had kids. She's living her life in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the Department of Justice ended up closing the case because they determined there was not enough evidence to prosecute her. So they closed the case. So no one has done time or paid for the murder of Emmett Till. Again, Women of the Movement is on tonight at 8 o'clock on ABC. I'm about to wrap this up so I can go watch it. It's already 7:51 and I got to get ready. And so I just, this has been a really good sip and say. I've enjoyed myself. I've actually talked more than I had planned to talk. I planned to wrap up maybe around 7:30, but it's okay. It's 7:51. We're about to wrap up. Thank you so much for joining me for Sip and Say with Stephanie. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you gained some new information. Thank you so much for all of the comments that have come in. Thank you so much. You will need more detail. Okay, I can give you some more details about, I guess, Women of the Movement maybe. I will add the information to the description. I may not be able to do it tonight because I'm gonna be watching my Women of the Movement, and I don't miss it. Like, I'm running to the bathroom during commercials, but I don't want to miss not 1 second of the show. And tonight's the last show, so I'll get to you what you need, mommy, if you just let me know. All right. So that's it. Let me get one more sip in. All right. So next week, y'all, I'm gonna ask y'all what y'all drinking, because I did forget to ask tonight, like, what y'all drinking tonight? So tonight, as I said, I was drinking my Scarpina. This is probably gonna be gone before the night's over, because I think I'm gonna be sipping. Watching Miss Mamie. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all the actors and actresses that are in, and I promise I'm gonna wrap up after this. So we have, these are some actors and actresses that I didn't know of, you all. So we have Adrian Warren plays Miss Mamie. She is phenomenal, y'all. I have never heard of Adrian Warren, but she's phenomenal. Cedric Joe plays Emmett Till. Tanya Pinkins plays Miss Alma, who's Mamie's mom. I do recognize her. Ray Fisher plays Jean Mobley. Glenn Turman, I know Glenn Turman from I Know My Family Loves Me, from Hillman, from y'all, what's that? A Different World. Who I can think of. I know him from A Different World. He was Colonel in A Different World. So that's Glenn Turman. He played Mose Wright. And then Julia McDermott, she played Carolyn Bryant. So that's Women of the Movement. Okay, y'all, I'm really done. Y'all have a fabulous evening. If you have some winter advisories in your area, be safe. Try to stay off the road if absolutely possible. Stay in, sip you whatever you're gonna sip on. Be safe and enjoy your weekend. Y'all take care now. See you next Thursday at 6:30 for Sip and Say with Stephanie. We're gonna talk about the Voting Rights Act and the Build Back Better Act, okay? See y'all later. Bye-bye.